What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Kramer, and in this video, I'm going to share why midterm rentals are way better than short-term rentals. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. So if you've been following me for some time now, you know that I've been doing short-term rentals for a few years, and I still do them today. But about 2 years ago, I slowly started making the switch to midterm rentals, and now a majority of what I do is midterm rentals. So what I'm gonna do in this video is share the 6 reasons why midterm rentals are better than short-term rentals, and then you guys can make a decision for yourself at the end. All right, so the first reason why midterm rentals are better than short-term rentals is because there is way less management. You can have multiple turnovers in a week. You're constantly managing new bookings, sending your cleaner there multiple times in a month, and you have needy guests because they're only there for a short period of time, which means they require a lot more communication. Now, I run a co-hosting business that was predominantly short-term rentals, and at one time I had up to 30 short-term rentals that me and my team were operating. So I know firsthand how much work running short-term rentals are, even when you have systems, processes, and a team in place. But midterm rentals, on the other hand, require way less management. Instead of a few turnovers per month, we have a few turnovers per year. And our guests aren't as needy because with a short-term rental, they're only gonna stay for 2 days and something's broken, they need it fixed that hour. With a midterm rental, of course, we wanna still provide good customer service, but if something's broken for a day, in the grand scheme of their 3-month booking, it's not the biggest deal in the world. All right, number 2, the second reason why midterm rentals are better than short-term rentals is because you do not need expensive amenities. Again, speaking firsthand here, I've had properties that I owned and also co-hosted that have pools, volleyball courts, fire pits, you name it. And while these amenities are super fun to have and guests love them, they are so expensive. And if the amenity doesn't work for whatever reason, like a hot tub, you end up refunding your guest a big portion of their stay. And speaking of expensive amenities, the interior design needed for a successful short-term rental in today's market is so expensive. You need to have murals, you need to have game rooms, you need to have tens of thousands of dollars poured into a short-term rental to make it successful in today's market. But that is not the case with midterm rentals. There are several different guest avatars you can cater to in a midterm rental, and none of them require crazy amenities that are gonna literally cost you your arm and a leg. All right, reason number 3 why midterm rentals are better than short-term rentals is consistency. In most short-term rental markets, there's a high season and a low season. Owners make a ton of money in the high season, like a ridiculous amount. But in the low season, oftentimes hosts are losing money. Now, one of the beauties of midterm rentals and something that I do with my properties is do something known as the hybrid method, where in the peak season, we'll run it as a short-term rental, and during the off season, we'll run it as a midterm rental. So that way you get the best of both worlds. Or if you're in a market that isn't a full-out vacation rental market, you can do midterm rental all year round. This is what I do with a lot of my properties. We don't have a peak season, but we also don't have a down season. Every month is extremely consistent, which means my cash flow is steady, which gives me a lot of peace of mind. All right, moving on to number 4, midterm rentals have lower operating costs than short-term rentals. Like I mentioned before, there are fewer turnovers with midterm rentals. So our cleaners cleaning less, we're restocking supplies less, and a lot of our guests are paying for their own supplies like toilet paper, paper towels, because when they're there for a few months, they're treating it like their own home. And we're not paying extra money to maintain all the crazy amenities that you would need in a short-term rental, like a hot tub or a volleyball court. And I hear a lot of people say, well, Bailey, yeah, your operating costs might be lower with the midterm rental, but the revenue is way higher with the short-term rental. And I'll tell you straight up that that is not always the case. I have a property, for example, that I co-host, and we are making more money in the winter months than we are in the peak summer season. And again, this is a lake house right on a beautiful lake where this town is booming in the summer and dead in the winter. But again, we're able to make more money in the winter time than we are in the summertime due to midterm rentals. And that's just one example, and I have many more. So again, midterm rentals have the same, if not higher, revenue potential depending on the property, but also lower operating expenses, which means more profit for you. All right, number 5, midterm rentals have less problematic guests. With short-term rentals, everyone's heard the horror stories, and if you've been hosting long enough, you've had something go wrong at your property with guests, even if you vet them super well. whether that's undisclosed parties, undisclosed pets, smoking in your property, or another issue. With short-term rentals, it is inevitable to happen. With midterm rentals, on the other hand, I'm not saying every guest is perfect by any means. I've had my fair share of guests who have given me some trouble. But overall, the guest avatar for midterm rentals are way more predictable than short-term rentals. I know that I'm either having a family, a traveling medical professional, or sometimes traveling construction crews that aren't even in my property much because they're there to work and not party in my house. All right, reason number 6 is midterm rentals have way less regulation risk. It is no secret that short-term rentals have been criticized for years and years. Some cities have put ban on short-term rentals, and other cities are putting a lot of pressure to limit the amount of short-term rentals in their city. Some have even required permits and licensing, and overall make it tougher to do short-term rentals. And I've heard people firsthand who buy a property for short-term rental, and then they realize, oh no, I can't do a short-term rental with this property. Or people where the laws and regulations change in their market. With midterm rentals though, this is not an issue. Since we're hosting people for 30 plus days, we are looked at by the cities as long-term rentals. So there aren't the same restrictions and red tape as there is with short-term rentals. So those are the 6 reasons why midterm rentals are better than short-term rentals. If you've done midterm or short-term, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.